to call the September 19th Historic Preservation Commission meeting to order. And we welcome everybody who has come to participate or just come to listen. And at the bottom of your agenda is a very well put statement about what we're all about here. So I encourage you to read it. The first item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, we have one item of old business. Is Mr. Hyatt here? He's not here. Would we like to postpone that until?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait till the end.
All righty. The first item of new business is the request of Virginia University of Lynchburg to pave a parking lot, install a guardrail, and install lighting at 2057 Garfield Avenue. And Mr. Martin is going to speak to that.
Sure. Well, good afternoon.
Hold on 1 second. Do we need Tracy for this? Because I assume Commissioner Lipsey, you're recusing yourself.
I am.
So we only have 3 members to discuss this item.
Okay.
Good point.
Do you mind if we postpone you a minute? All right. Okay,
Good call.
Yeah.
second item is the request of Patrick and Carrie Frankfurt to install a fence at 307 C Street. Is there a Mr. and Mrs. Frankfurt here?
They are not able to attend, but if the commission desires, they would like you to move forward without them.
Okay. All righty. I guess everybody saw that this had been approved in the past for a previous owner. But I didn't see that the height of the fence and for the previous approval was 4 feet.
Yeah, so the request, I believe, was for 4 feet. The request years past was for 4.5, but they got 4 feet approved. And then the restriction that it was to be painted or stained. So this request is a little different. They want to put the fence in the same area, but the yellow line is a dog ear fence and the red line is a picket fence, but both will be 4 feet tall.
And do you know if they're going to take down the hedge? Because there's a big hedge in front.
So you're talking about that hedge?
But it's quite tall, yeah.
Is that where the red line stops, I think?
I'm not
Probably
sure.
so. Yeah, it says retaining wall, which
Yeah.
there was where that fence was.
Yeah, and the hedge is.
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think maybe the hedge is right here, and it looks like the fence stops here.
Are there any questions or concerns about, welcome, we're on items B of new business. Okay, thank you.
I don't have any concerns.
I didn't have any either. It's a huge lot.
Right?
Lot.
It's quite deep, I think.
Yeah.
I move to accept the COA as submitted.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any more discussion? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll do one more time and then we'll come back to you. The next action item is the request of Barry and Sharice Agnew to widen a driveway and install a fence at 1003 Rivermont. If you will tell us your name again.
I will. I'm Barry Agnew. My wife is Sharice. And yes, that's right. We two things that we're asking for is, and I guess it's easier to look at the diagram, is we're looking to put up some fencing around aspects of our property, and then the driveway, as you can see, it's really, really narrow. To be able to widen that from 9 feet to 23 feet so that we can fit, a couple of cars in there. And we'd already talked about the grading of it and what to put in the driveway. None of that's changed. We would just ask that the same material be used, same grade, and all of that.
Any questions, concerns?
I wanted to make sure, I was confused when I was looking at the picture, but I may be not reading it correctly. So the top of it, the road at the top is Rivermont, correct?
Correct. That's right. Yes.
And you want to put 6 feet, it looks like up to the front of the house, Rob, is that correct?
So Eve helped me out a little bit here. If you look at the red and the yellow lines, those are where the fence will go. It's my understanding that most we can do is 4 feet where the yellow lines are, and then where the red is we'd like a 6-foot fence. And I think it is, where it's going all the way up is to basically the edge. It's the house right before the porch, so the front porch. So yeah, it's a bit hard to describe, but it will be coming out. I can go up and point. Is that okay?
Sure,
Is
sure.
that helpful? Okay. You can see I'm not good at graphic design, so this is me.
I don't read it well either,
So
so.
there's a Rivermont here, and then our front porch is basically, it's right up there. We want to go to the back side of the front porch, come out to our property line, all the way down to the corner, across, up here, and then here and here. This is the driveway.
Yep.
Right here. And so 4 feet here, because I think that's a code, or the yellow is, because I think that's a code requirement, as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And then 6 feet for the red. That's what we're asking for, if that helps.
Thank you, yeah. I think it was my interpretation of code maybe that it was off. I thought you could go higher in the backyard. Is it because it's along a street?
Yeah. So it's on Hemlock Street. J Street, there are no houses that front on J Street, but there are houses that front on Hemlock.
Ah, gotcha. Thank you.
One question I have is, if I did want to go 6 feet, would that be to get a variance from the city? And if I did decide to do that, would y'all have any problem with it being 6 feet so it's all uniform? Maybe that's putting the cart before the horse, but.
So that would need to go through the Board of Zoning Appeals. So that would be, you need to talk to Kevin Henry, who's our
Okay.
zoning administrator, and I can give you his number.
Okay.
But it would be up to the commission if they wanted to conditionally approve that. That's up to you.
I think that should wind its way through zoning first, and then come back to us, yeah.
I
It
agree.
would make sense to get that hoop cleared.
If possible, if I can get approval for the 4 feet, then if we decide to do that, then kind of cross that bridge. It'll be, because 4 feet is, I think, in theory, fine for us, if it's fine with the commission.
Yeah, the whole height thing is completely zoning. We don't have any say whatsoever in whether or not they do or don't.
So the red part in the front is 6-foot privacy fence on
Yes.
Rivermont? Okay.
Correct.
So it's allowed to be 6 foot on
As
Rivermont?
long as it's at the body of the house.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
it's not right along the street.
gotcha, okay. And then do you have, it might be on here already and I just didn't see it, the gates, where are you gonna put gates for the fence?
I'll go point.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's okay. Sorry, I didn't do that.
No, that's fine.
The only gate is what we're thinking is going to be right here. There won't be any gates in any other part of the fence.
Just like a standard 5 foot wide, okay.
Yep, that's right. And not enough so we can get things
Get stuff in
through
and out,
and
yeah.
all that.
Any more questions? Any motion?
I'm sorry, did you,
Ones.
maybe it said and I overlooked it again. How do you plan on finishing it? Painting or staining or? in
We were
what
going
color?
to just stain it, was our plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it dog-eared? Okay, yeah. That's the picture.
I don't see anything
Yeah.
that,
Is there a picture of the fence they're planning to do?
An example,
That's
yeah.
representative of what we would
Okay.
like to do. It's a picture off the internet. I don't have that somewhere, but that's a,
Sure. But you want to do that dog-eared style at the top?
yeah, it would
Okay.
give a slight bit of character to the fence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a motion?
yeah, I see no issues. I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You're
Thank you so
good to
much.
go.
Appreciate it.
So let's come back to Mr. Martin. We waited for you. We needed you.
Well, good afternoon. My name's Tom Martin. I'm the city planner, and right now I'm the acting director of community development. You might ask, why am I here? Well, I'm here because we've been working very hard with Virginia University of Lynchburg to really get them back on track in the approval process. I do have Dr. Pat Price on the phone with me. Unfortunately, she could not be with us because she has COVID. Say hello, Dr. Price. I got her turned down real low. She said, good afternoon. So I believe this has been before you a couple of times. So essentially there was a parking area that we found in the aerial photography that dates back to about 2006, and you can see it there in the gray. It was gravel. They have gone in and put down a gravel base. That just happens to be in one of the only remaining parts of the local historic district. So thus the need for your approval. In terms of the lighting, I think that's hopefully a fairly simple one. The university would like to match the existing lights on campus, which is representative there. The guardrail, there needs to be a guardrail because there's a fairly steep drop off between the top of the parking lot and the grade that goes down to those temporary classrooms that are not in the district. Right now, they unfortunately installed a metal guardrail that would need to come out, and they would replace with a wooden guardrail similar to what's shown in that photograph. Now, in terms of the final surface of the parking area, at first, the paving it was preferred, and we know that screening is an option. Although in talking with the engineer, Hurt and Profit, it's probably going to be more beneficial for them to do porous concrete. So that would help address some of the stormwater issues that they're going to deal with. So final answer, the university is requesting porous concrete for that surface, and that's what we're here for.
Great. Questions?
So I'm going to show my ignorance. I'm not really familiar with porous concrete. Does it, to the eye, does it look much different?
It looks like it's got little holes in it. The only place I know where it is, if you go out to the Wards Road pedestrian trail between Walmart and Cracker Barrel, when the city put that sidewalk in, we used porous concrete. So what it allows is for the water to actually infiltrate through, and then there would be an under drain that would gather it and take it downstream. So it's not a smooth finish. It's kind of rough looks.
It's also used, the academy used that on their load-in dock.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Does grass
Off
grow
the-
through
off
it
the
or
street.
weeds or anything? No?
Mm-mm.
Huh.
It's basically like really small spaghetti, if you will.
I tell you, the first time I saw it, it looked like to me it was concrete where it rained on it and put little whole thing.
Oh, yeah?
But that's, it does really good for stormwater, so it'll be kind of a benefit to them also.
Questions? I think it sounds like you've solved all of our
Yeah, it does.
issues.
Yes.
Made life simple.
Well, it's been very beneficial having Dr. Price. We now have one point of contact at BUL, it's Dr. Price, so it's been working very well.
Good.
I'm just kind of looking for a little clarity. Previously, we had discussed screening when we were talking pavement and things like that. If I'm reading the drawing that's shown here, there's still some landscaping going on. Is that their intent even if they do porous concrete?
That landscaping will be required regardless per the zoning ordinance.
Gotcha, okay.
Well, I'll make a motion.
All right.
I make a motion to approve as submitted.
All right.
I'll second. I agree with my fellow commissioner that, well, I think with all of them, that I guess you're partnering with them, between the two of you or everyone working together, you've done well at addressing all of our concerns and come up with a good solution, I feel.
I do too. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And abstain.
And
Thank you so much, we appreciate what you do.
And thank
Have a
Mr.
great day.
Price.
Thanks.
Okay, that's good.
Shonda, I think,
The Hyatts.
Would we come back then? We'll come back to the Hyatts. We postponed you at the beginning.
That's all right.
And
Sorry
now
about
we'll
that.
come
We're
back
running
to
from the
you
street up.
for show and tell.
Yeah, here, I'll go ahead and let you see how porous they are.
Okay.
You know how they're cut. This is the side that goes down.
Mhm.
And this isn't, I mean, and a lot of them, the other ones have even deeper ridges, you know, in them, you know, so, you know, that's what we'd be using as far as the slate is concerned. You know, I don't think it'll be an issue with the, you know, ice or anything like that and being dangerous. You know, I think they come out really nice.
What was the size of the tiles?
They're 12 by 12.
Are there any questions?
I move to approve as submitted. And thank you for bringing samples.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.
Bye-bye. Okay, then we're on item D, the request of Samantha Baker for after-the-fact construction of a rear deck and to paint 860 Victoria. And if you would tell us your name and address and then tell us what you would like to do.
Yes, my name's Samantha Baker. I now own 860 Victoria Avenue. So I just moved in the beginning of August, and I found out on my second day living there that the rear deck is not apparently approved. That was built by the previous owner. So I'm just here to figure out what I need to do to get it approved.
Okay.
So apparently that was the structure that was there originally, and it was deemed unsafe. So there's no access to the backyard except through, I guess, the basement doorway. And then the previous owner wanted to take that awning off, and the roofing people said that it wasn't stable to stand on, and they needed to tear the whole thing down. And that's when he rebuilt it in January of 2022. So.
So that was a big
Change.
construction.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a
unfortunate.
And he came to us.
You sure did.
Yeah, remember
Vinyl.
about painting. Yeah.
I think it was putting up vinyl, right?
Yeah, I believe I was looking through the archives, and he was here in April and in March regarding the siding.
Yeah.
All right.
So keep me honest here, Eve. There's not a whole lot it's not like us denying it's going to put anything into effect, because it's been sold and there was no finding at the time of the sale, correct?
So we did issue a notice of violation to the previous owner before he sold the property in the hopes that, you know, he would come before us and kind of make it right. But unfortunately, the property transferred before, you know, there's a process.
Sure.
To taking someone to court.
Yeah.
And the property transferred. And so violations don't go with the owner, they go with the property. And so now this issue has transferred to Samantha. And so if you choose to deny it, we would ask Samantha to either return it to the previous structure or make this structure something that the commission would want to approve.
Can we see the previous again?
This helps you.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
So
it's
Rivermont
a
is
huge-
to the front,
Yeah, so this is to the rear.
Yeah.
and
What's
the
the
side
side?
street is, is the street going down beside you?
Yeah, so I do have a small little side street that goes down, and then there's an alley behind me that goes to, I guess it's the handicap housing that's there, but yeah.
Wall Street. So,
It's not, it doesn't get a lot of traffic. It's like a very small side street, so.
So Wall is a dead end, and
and then Beach Street.
Beach is also a dead end?
Yeah, it looks like it ends in
Oh, yeah, the Victoria, yeah. So the deck is not visible from,
From Rivermont.
It's not
Rivermont.
visible, no.
No.
It would only
so
be
that's a
visible.
bit of an out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for me, the footprint is less of an issue as either paint or stain, as opposed to just, is that
And
correct?
she does have in her proposal to paint, she plans to paint.
Yes, that is my second topic, is to paint the house. So yes, the deck would be included in
With the-
that.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve the deck before we talk about the paint?
Is there any, oh gosh, I don't know that we can influence this at all, but on the previous structure, there's obviously an awning, which
Oh, a
I'm
little
assuming
roof.
is original to the house, and you can see where the siding was repaired when it was taken down. I mean, I don't know if it's just preference and that's as far as it goes, but it would be nice to see something built that would kind of replicate that, but I don't know that we can.
But again, if it came in just to replace in kind, because of its location, it would not be an absolute requirement
Yeah, okay.
to rebuild it. It's a nicey, but
Yeah,
Right. Agreed.
okay. Well, I would motion to approve the deck as it is, pending the paint colors, but,
We'll move on.
yeah. Oh, yeah, we can motion the whole thing, I guess.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay. All right, now tell us about your paint.
Okay, I will be honest, the purple and gold do not do it for me. So I would like to paint the whole house the same color. So my proposed colors, it's going to be the whole body of the house will be a very pale pink. It's called dress rehearsal. It's more like a whitish pink. And then the trims will be white and navy. So the deck and porch would be in the navy, and then the trim. So that would be similar to what I would like to do to the house. Obviously, the pink is going to be a little bit more subtle than that.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind if the pink was bolder, because I love that, I know purple and gold isn't for everyone, but what I love about that house is how like unique it is and really brings the character of Victorian homes, kind of stands out. So I wouldn't hate it if the pink was darker personally, but I mean, I think that's a great combination.
Yeah, I think so.
Inside joke, you did.
I was looking for it.
I know you're going to approve. Well, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted for the colors.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those, are any more discussion? You look like you have a
Yeah, I have one
question.
question. I was probably flipping through and you already answered it. What color did you say you were going to do the deck?
So the deck would be in the navy.
Okay.
And the door, it says the door will be navy and white. Is that like the actual door is going to be
So
navy?
the door is going to be navy, and
frame
then
is
it
black.
has like the trim work on it. So I think I'm going to do some of that with like pops of white. If you look at the house, I think it's 1, 4, 5, 6 Rivermont. They kind of did the same thing with their door
Okay.
that I'd like to do. But yeah. You have that picture?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you're
Thank you so
good.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The next item is a request of Jason Hines of Strategic Funding LP to demolish a garage at 923 Harrison. Is Mr. Hines here?
No, I know Jason personally, he's not here.
He's not here. Did you hear from him, Eve?
He didn't respond.
That's not like Jason.
So shall we postpone and see?
Let's at least look at it, and if it's a straightforward.
Okay, okay.
And it's after the fact. It's not like he's going to build this thing back.
Yeah.
You see the pictures. That's
Do you
probably
want
a
me to
good
call
thing.
him to see like he's just running late?
I don't think.
Let's look at it first before you bother him.
So this is partially after the fact. We did issue a stop work order while they were in the process. So you can see the front has been taken off. There's the stop work order.
I'm not in construction, but I don't think that's an original structure, nor was it adding contributing value.
Yeah, it wasn't listed in the DHR survey or nomination, but I also couldn't find a date that it was constructed, so.
Is there an intent to rebuild a new one there?
He wants to use the area as a driveway, but he didn't say he wanted to build anything back.
The driveway request is not part of this, right?
It looks like it's, if I'm seeing this clearly, it's already paved and then it's a concrete pad, so. Yeah. I think he's probably doing his neighbors a service and himself.
Yeah.
I would move to approve as submitted.
Second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You can go right ahead. All right, next we have another after-the-fact request from Catherine Lewis of Paces Enterprise to install a HVAC unit in a front fourth level roof. Okay, if you would tell us your name and address
Yes.
and the nature of.
Yeah, so I'm Catherine Lewis, and I own 321 Harrison Street, hopefully not much longer. So yeah, I came before, and Eve notified me of a concerned citizen complaint about some issues, so I just want to address those and make sure we're good, and I can do what I need to do to stay in good standing with you guys. The house is on the market to be sold, so I just, with that young lady ahead of me, I want to make sure everything is taken care of so we don't have that same issue if someone buys this home. But the HVAC was redone. I spent almost $14,000 actually on the heating and air in that home. These old homes are great, except they're not, it had no heat and air when I bought it, and I knew that. So there are mini splits in all the rooms upstairs, and it adds tremendous value to that home. The city did come inspect it. I submitted a permit through the city when we did that, and then they came out and they found some small things they wanted in relation to the HVAC. I had that fixed this previous Friday, which was, I guess, what, the 16th. And they are coming back tomorrow. I just spoke to Denise or Sharon to just confirm that the electrician did what he was supposed to. So they wanted to label the breaker panel completely. Apparently the electrician had not updated the updated part of the breaker. And they wanted to secure the line sets to the outdoor units. Apparently it's just some black like insulation kind of from the outside of the home to the actual unit itself on the outside. And they wanted some additional protection on the NM cables, which I'm not familiar with that, but so that was pending tomorrow's inspection. Everything is up to code and complete with the HVAC there. And it's on the side of the home. It's not, not in the front, but almost to the rear of the home, but on that side. If you're looking at the home, it's on the left-hand side from the street.
It hangs off the side of the house,
It does, yeah.
Not mounted to the ground on a pad or anything.
No. And they're actually super energy efficient because, the house is on the market, so there's been like showings and stuff, and realtors have left the AC running. And I've gotten that AEP bill for several months, and it's like, so they do a really good job, and they can cool and heat a home that size very quickly. Like I've gone over there just even like an hour before showing, and it's cooled down, even in July. So they are very energy efficient, and just they add a lot of value to a home to have that. But yeah, those were the three things that the city inspector came back with that have been corrected, and they're supposed to be there between 8 and 12 tomorrow to just confirm that. And I can pull up the permit number if you need to. I did not write that down.
I think the only thing for me, typically, the guidelines say if they're on the side of the house, there should be some level of screening, a little fence or a shrubbery or something.
Okay.
So that would be the only thing for me on this. It seems to be fine in its location. I mean, it's got to function well. And the guidelines say it can be on the side of the house. It would prefer it on the back where you can't see it, but if it's there, just.
Totally wrong location.
Yeah, totally. So just a little wing fence sticking out that would screen it from the street.
Can I just let the weeds quit growing on the side?
Yeah.
The ivy is kind of taking over.
I was thinking that was just another.
Can I let the ivy kind of hide
Put in
it?
like an arborvitae or something that, since it's a little bit higher off the ground. I don't know if would you have to put a 6-foot, like a privacy fence in front of it to cover it? I don't know that a picket fence would.
Yeah, I mean, just, I think it's going to need to be a fence that's at least as tall as the top of the unit.
Now, I know according to the guidelines, that's what it says, but would it almost look more obtrusive having like a big high fence there than just?
Because that fence is kind of leaning over right there in that first picture. That's not there. So I'm kind of with you, like either leave it as is, or then you're going to just have this random fence on the side of the house that's.
Shrub would be better.
Yeah,
I think a shrub would be.
one of those like
Like privacy shrubs, things.
Or
Just one shrub that's tall enough, and it'd be evergreen, not deciduous.
right, so that it stays green all year. Yeah.
That's fair. Okay.
But she could even get like a tall, one of those like.
Tall, skinny.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Curtain shades, whatever.
There we go.
If I plant
She
one of
knows what I
those, would that be okay?
I'm sorry?
If I planted one of those like tall shrubs that she's
Yep,
speaking of,
that would make sense.
I would be totally fine to do that if you guys would allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
I think that works, yeah.
Okay.
So if are we going to do them individually, Madam Chair?
Let's do them individually.
So I'd move.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the location of the mini split unit outside, as long as we get a shrub in front of it.
That's fair. Yeah, do that.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say
Well,
aye.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Just for clarity's sake, a shrub that's tall enough
Correct.
to screen it
To
from the
screen it,
road.
correct. Right, I know what you're talking about.
And evergreen.
And,
And, yeah, I have evergreen here, so it stays green year round, yeah.
Again.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, and next is the roof.
So, the front porch, was falling in on itself when I bought this home. The roof was, as you can tell, has been redone and, it matches the back of the house, not the top of the house. And this was also, I don't know, you may not remember, but back in May when I was here, I had a baby when this was put on. And I was just happy my contractor was there. So it probably was an oversight on my part, but I will say that the material is correct. You guys originally wanted it to be that burgundy color. So I'm gonna ask if you guys will please let me keep that roof, because it is the right material, it matches the back. Between material and labor, that was about $5,500 there to get that to its current condition. And that house has been on the market for 95 days, and I can honestly tell you guys, I don't have any money left to put in this home, minus the shrub, I'm not much. But I can't spend another $5,000 to replace that roof again.
Yeah, quite honestly, the metal is fine.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And you can't see that from the, like the picture, I mean, thankfully the listing does have really nice pictures you can see from the sky, and we did that intentionally, so, because the roof is in good shape, there are no leaks, and like I said, the front porch obviously is brand new, and, because that's always a concern if you're buying an older home, is how bad is the roof gonna leak? So again, this concerned citizen, they didn't, the color, or I don't know what happened there, but it's certainly not, neon green. I mean, the house itself used to be neon green.
Well, I think you should go, no.
Please don't make me paint that house again.
No, in terms of material, it's
It's the
correct.
same,
in that
it's the correct material, it's just
back
not the
like it
color you
is.
guys requested.
And in that it's, silver is it's an appropriate color for a porch, and B, it is matching the rear. I don't have a problem with it as
It
it
matches
is.
next door.
Yeah, the next door is the same, actually.
Who are actually really wonderful neighbors, by the way.
Yeah. So I'd move to approve as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. I think it's fine as well. I just have a question about the, and this is
The
probably
painting
not
on
part
the
of it.
side?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
material on the side. Can you go to the view of the two pictures side by side? Looks like
So
it's
even, we
just
have,
unfinished plywood.
the side has to, and I sent her pictures like with highlighted
Yeah,
pieces
that
of it.
this
So
one.
that exposed wood right there, she had requested that I paint white on both, those are the two ends of the porch, obviously, and the rails on the front. So it all is, and there, and
And
that,
underneath as well?
and on that underneath
Okay.
part, kind of right where the gutter starts,
Okay.
all of that should be white. And that's gonna be me out there doing that probably at some point this week, because my painters just, they're booked so long.
Who is on those things?
Yeah. But I have the paint already in the house for it. It's white exterior paint that matches the rest of it. If you guys are okay with that being painted the same white on the sides, and that, I don't know the right term for it, but it is kind of right where that gutter starts. You can see that exposed wood right there. Because all of that had to be replaced. I mean, it was rotted out. It was ugly.
And if you need me to amend that the remaining porch elements that are unpainted to be painted white to match.
Okay.
Yep, I'll second that amendment.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I do, even I had emailed about this. Do the steps have to be painted white or just the railing? That's just,
The wood steps,
can I just paint the railing white? Or do the steps have to be painted white as well?
Is the porch floor like a gray or something?
No, it's kind of like that wood. It could be stained just like to its original wood color. It's been pressure washed, but the floor of the porch matches more of the steps and the railing than like the white of the porch itself.
Is there a better picture in the listing?
Yeah. And I sent that to you just a second ago. Because the porch it's really nice.
Same picture.
You can kind of see it there, yeah. So it matches the,
Yeah, I'd encourage you to paint the steps the same color as the porch.
I just want, is that okay if the railings are new, but the steps are not. So the steps match the floor of the porch, the railings are brand new.
Okay.
You can kind of see in that, you can really see it in that
The
picture.
steps are old and original.
They have been pressure washed, and are ready to be stained if need be, but the railings, I think, would look good white, but the steps, I was a little hesitant on. You guys are okay with that?
You do the riser white, the board that's vertical, the kick board, white, and leave the steps natural.
Natural.
That could be,
Yeah.
that would kind of mirror what you have there.
Yeah, the fascia board that's going around is
Okay,
white.
I found-
So
yeah.
the flat board, point to the riser, that, if that just white, but the treads, the part you
Itself.
step on, stay natural.
Okay, that would be my preference if we could.
Yeah,
Okay,
that would make sense.
okay. How long do I have to paint?
Don't tell. Don't
A
tell.
long time. Way longer than you want to.
Okay.
weeks.
Can you,
2 weeks.
I thought Eve was my friend here.
That won't take you any time at all.
It's like a year
Yeah,
to
technically
begin
you-
work and
You have a
2 to-
year to start the work, 2 to finish it.
Oh, heaven, I'm talking about like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we
okay.
knew you're ahead of us.
Before you sell.
Yeah.
If this house doesn't sell in 3 or 4 more weeks, we got a problem. Yeah, okay, okay. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Looks good.
Thank you. I say, do you remember the house before you lived on
I
here?
yeah.
remember seeing,
Previous owners too.
Yeah.
You've taken it a long way.
And those
Yes.
wooden windows.
Right?
you've done well.
They look good.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah, that is excessive.
Our next item is a request of Jeremiah
Gelzo.
for after-the-fact installation of a wooden fence, painting, and to install picket fence and shutters at 1358 Rivermont. All right. You tell us your name and your address.
I'm Jeremiah Gelzo, 1358 Rivermont. We recently took over the property. It had been vacant for quite a while, and my brother and I have tried to bring it back to life. It's kind of on an anchor corner on Rivermont as you come up, and pretty house, but has been in disrepair for quite a while, and so tried to bring it back to life again. It is a rental property for us, got a really nice couple in there, just had a baby. The neighborhood surrounding it is a little bit interesting. We've had to call the police a couple times on block parties on the back street, some interesting stuff, so.
Heavy littering.
Heavy littering.
Socks, clothing items, wrappers, tons of beer bottles, broken bottles.
50, 60 beer bottles in the backyard, so.
Whoa, crazy.
Yeah, it's a party central apparently on the back street.
Yeah, there were block parties.
So we're thankful to have good runners. We worked real hard for a month working on the property, then found out it was in the historic thing, didn't know. We initially put in a fence that we had hoped to keep at 6 feet due to the issues really behind the property and people disrespecting that it's not theirs. They don't live there and they don't get to party in the
People just set
property.
up chairs in the lawn right next to it, like throwing trash, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
one of the big things for our tenants was just wanting to have privacy and almost some sense of security, and also limit some sound transfer, just because, yeah, not
I
all
mean,
the
who doesn't
residents
want
are
a
being
club in their
respectful
backyard,
of.
right? So.
It anchors the other house. I mean, it's so close together.
We
on
had
that
looked at
side,
the
yeah.
variance board, and obviously the 4-foot thing, the house falls in kind of an interesting lot. So we had asked about that, and at this point,
my brother and I made a decision, as much as we'd like to keep 6 feet, whether you
For
would
the-
approve.
for the tenants.
For the tenants,
benefit.
it's
It
looking
would
like
take us
more
so much
money for
time.
us to go through the variance board, and
All
we
the
would
time
rather
involved.
invest the money in the property. It bothers us, they're not real happy with it, they're the ones that called the police and called us and on this. It's not a troubled neighborhood, but you get a lot of walker-bys and people that just
Characters.
disrespect. So that's one of the things. Right now, we basically already said that we would just cut it down to 4 feet. They're not super happy with it, but
Yeah.
So let,
You can chalk line it. and
even in
cut it
terms
down.
of zoning, is where it is okay at 6, or
No, it needs to be 4.
has to be 4 by zoning? Okay. Yeah, again, we don't get to,
right, it doesn't make any sense to us based on that, even though the people behind us had a refrigerator in their driveway, they're worried about the look of the fence. So, it
Is it
doesn't
a-
make sense to us, but
so it's not a situation that would be,
Yeah.
can we go back to the site plan? Or, you know, overhead or?
Yeah.
Here, you can see it.
I think we have an aerial in here. Or, I guess we do not. Hold on.
I don't know that there was anything on the last listing either, other than if it would be on your GIS or whatever.
Miss Google Earth.
The other thing was for us to do a white picket fence around the lot to help to define the lot and give a space for, one, it's on a busy intersection, safety for children as well as
dogs.
pets, dogs, and our renters do have a dog that they would like that, so we'd like to be able to add that piece. The lot also has only a gravel drive at this point, and down the road, we'd like to be able to pave it for a 2-car. Obviously,
That's something
something,
we're trying to do.
yeah, not immediately, but we just would like to get it
Cost-wise,
improved. So again, we're trying to bring value to the space and for renters and anybody that's there down the road if we sell it.
So where the existing fence is coming off is okay in terms of location, it's just too tall?
Mhm. So we actually met on site with the zoning administrator and the zoning official, so they've seen where the fence is, it's just the height that's an issue.
Is that side panel, just for clarification, is that side panel coming off the house, like you guys have kind of talked with previous people?
Right.
Is that an issue to leave at 6 feet? Because of its perpendicular nature to the property versus the
It was
backside?
okay for hers because she was a lot going back. It's
Okay.
because you're adjacent to the street.
It still
Because
needs
we
to
don't-
be
I think
4.
if we had another house next to that.
We're gonna build a house
You
there.
could stay 6. Yeah, if you can get the city to deed you the street.
Yeah, right, we'll just put another house.
Spend
there.
$500,000 and we'll keep the 6
It's
foot
at the
on
bottom.
It's a
just
wise
that
investment.
Right.
8-foot section.
Okay,
Yeah, if it's going back, you can start at the body of the house.
Right.
With
so
the
4
6,
foot on all that.
But
Okay.
because it's 4. And the area that's gravel now is where you're talking about the
Grass
driveway?
is just,
down the
grass is
road,
just
yeah.
slowly overtaking it. So at some point, we'd like to, it's already got, obviously, an inlet off the street, and it's a paved section. We just want to tie that into the
The
house.
big thing there is that you've not been around, we've had a bunch lately. It can't be asphalt,
It would be a concrete.
but it can be concrete.
Okay. Yeah, we would do concrete, and we might even do a stamp.
Yeah.
Something that would be decorative and be
And that's
period.
even better.
Yeah.
And
The
you
old-
should come back to us before you do it.
Okay.
So as part of their COA, so should we
Yeah.
separate that out?
Oh, okay.
So could we not approve it since they've submitted it?
Well, I guess we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing you might consider, is that stamped concrete is exposed aggregate. Basically, you pour the concrete, and then you kind of, with a hose, wash the top concrete off, so the rocks.
Oh,
It's kind of
yeah,
a
yeah.
grittier.
Exposed, yeah.
Mhm.
Particularly if you use like a river rock in it, so that it's, you know, the tan and white rocks as opposed to just all gray.
I just finished, I'm almost done restoring a house from 1938, and I've done literally everything. It's not historic, so
Yeah.
free reign to do what I wanted. But I'm a fan of Art Deco, and so with this house being in that time period and going through that, like, it just anything that would be on that, and that's been our
Yeah, that'd
our
be good.
focus to bring
Yeah.
some fun back to it and some beauty to the house.
Would you be, so I know you said there already is a cut from the street for the drive?
It is, yeah, the city's already done
Is it
it.
too wide, or are you gonna keep it single and just have a paved area that's 2 cars wide?
It's plenty wide. You can maybe see it from the aerial. It's already got kind of a cut in from the city, the way they did it. So we would just tie the,
So you're not cutting the curb to extend it or anything?
nope,
like
we
that?
would
Okay.
need to change anything on the curb, do anything. We just want to add
Just
concrete on the
extend it
backside.
out.
That would tie
Yeah.
into that, into the house. Yeah. So just 2 cars wide. And if you have any questions, the other thing that we're interested in doing is the house is fully vinyl sided. The whole house is covered in vinyl. We
That
would
was
like,
way before us.
yeah, well before us and probably even the
How long
previous
ago?
owner. I'm not-
Decades, probably.
Yeah, probably, I don't know if it's 15 years old or not. I mean, it's been there a while. We're looking at basically matching a shutter in vinyl to wood that would be period looking, match the house, but to be able to do it in vinyl, obviously there's no shutters on the house now. They all rotted off probably 2 decades ago. Nobody ever put them back on, and we wanted to just match the windows, a really long, tall look that would, again, for that corner lot, I think really make the house stand out once we add the white picket fence in and really add some character to that lot.
Shutters would seem to make sense.
Vinyl.
I think
Just
that
because there's already vinyl on
one
the
thing
house
that I would
itself.
just note as an issue, and I definitely appreciate, you're trying to match materials, but it's, when you're installing a vinyl shutter, you're installing it differently than a wood shutter as far as like placement. And so, it's like, what I'm saying, it's like outside of the window rather on the trim where you can function as a shutter. So it's just.
I have wood shutters on my house, and I fully pulled every single one off my home that I own, and they do hang outside. So I'm familiar with both sets and installing both. And mine, I've completely redone, had to put bracing on. They're in complete disrepair, and I probably won't get maybe even a decade out of them before
Yeah,
they
we've
need to
already
be
have to
completely
repair another
removed
one.
at this point.
And then where do
That's what we don't want to have to deal with
something,
is
yeah.
you can get the same look, the same finish, you wouldn't even know it from the street, but there's no hanging hardware, there's no nothing, because nobody uses any of that
Right.
anymore.
But
And
from a
there's no
historic
mounting.
perspective, I think that's kind of what we're trying to make sure that it's appropriate for the style of the house. And I totally understand that you
Yeah.
have, on your home, you had similar to what you're requesting here. It's just we're trying to lean as much historic as we can, and what would be historic is if they were wood attached,
Yeah,
on
and the
trim.
guidelines
So,
wouldn't.
but, it's certainly a
So if
discussion.
there's no
so.
hinging left, there's nothing left on the house, it's all been pulled off, so there's nothing there existing whatsoever. Everything's been covered up, and so the only thing would be is if we had to go back to find it would be,
Is it just the front that you're doing?
we just wanted to do the front side facades and the lower windows, so we're not even gonna mess with the back or anything, just the side, kind of the picture window side when you're driving down Rivermont. It'll look like what would have been there and match the house, without the hinge stuff, but, it's just hard to get, I've looked at Bailey Spencer's and looked at that stuff, and you can't match any of it, you can't find, to get it, you'd be spending $10,000, it's not worth our money to do it that way.
Right.
It's
A
not
lot of,
cost effective.
as it sounds, you've probably already learned a lot of approaches to maintaining a historical house. It's not cost effective. But the ones that are in a historic district, that's what we're here to do our best to ensure does take place. So vinyl shutters are just, I can only speak for myself, but something I couldn't approve. It's unfortunate there's vinyl siding on the house. I can't make you peel that off, but I can vote against putting up a vinyl shutter. They're just not going to age the same, they're not going to wear the same, the paint's not going to hold the same. In 10 years, it's going to look like a house on Timberlake or something. The shutters would. It's not appropriate for what's there. The same with the way that they're mounted. I don't know if you've read through the guidelines where they talk about the mounting and what's appropriate and what's not. And what's being requested or proposed here is just not in line with our guidelines.
So you would be fine if we had wood and did a wood shutter, but they would have to have mounting hardware and be able to theoretically pivot, even though they never would be as
Or could
well.
we still just get wooden shutters
Yeah, I
Or
think.
could we still do wooden
Vinyl.
shutters and mount non-movable?
Yep, non-movable, yeah.
Agree, yeah.
So
I
you would
think
be
that
fine
would
if
be
we
fine.
could, if we were able to
I feel like
find
that would
wood,
be a good
Yeah.
program or something.
but they could be
Speaking for
mounted to
myself,
the
yes.
exterior, just not vinyl.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, then we'd be fine with that. We'll see if we can find an option that way.
Sure, yeah, and you may, you know this, there's lots
Yeah.
of stores around where you can find some off of someone else's house, that as long as they're,
And I looked down at the
Top to
main
bottom,
place
as long as
downtown, it's
they
just,
line up.
these
What are you-
windows are
what
so
you
tall, it's hard to
encouraging
find
here?
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're,
I'm not off in a historic district.
Just go shopping on Riverhead Ave, you'll find something.
These look like,
and you're exactly right, getting the right height.
That's the issue.
So they're
There's-
not all-
there's
all
How
no
many
matching.
windows are on the front of the
I
house?
looked downtown at Bailey Spencer's, which is the only place, and they get donated. Not enough down there that would even be remotely tall enough, close enough, or even matched. So then we're
Even
back
for
to
that
like
many
mismatched
windows.
everything. So
The one thing was just
we
like
would have to
replacing
go
one or
new
something, but, yeah.
to get anything that would look right.
And maybe, I don't know if like a Carabati's in Richmond is a huge architectural salvage place. They have tons more stuff. I've not been recently. I've not looked.
And we would just do black to match the rest of the
Yeah,
color
and that would
scheme
be-
that was
and that
on
would be
that. So if we
appropriate.
can just get approved for the wood, we'll look for something period, and it will be black if we decide to do it then. Yeah, that'd be fine.
So Eve, let's run down the list,
yeah,
kind of.
one by one.
No, I agree that we should do it one by one. Or we can go down the list and approve or not approve.
Yeah, do you want to do that?
Want to go down
Yeah.
and do that? Okay, install black wooden shutters. Paint the window trim and porch foundation columns black.
That is an after the fact,
Can we go look at that?
yep, so this is before it was painted. This is also before it was painted.
Yeah.
Again, before, so you can see it was gray, and this was a rock,
We went back to an Art Deco kind of look for the age of the house.
and this is after. So black paint here and around the windows.
Do you have the fancy number I did over the door? Went back and hand painted that thing gold.
I don't think I have that, unless it's
It
in
just
one
looks
of
cool.
these.
Color person?
I struggled with this one, I mean, it's after the fact, so if you were here asking for permission to paint the stone, I would not have voted in favor of that. Again, I can only speak for myself, I don't know what can be done that wouldn't damage the stone to,
It was all it's not even real stone. It's all been after, who knows when it was done, a decade and a half ago or more.
Oh, yeah?
It's not, none of it was real stone. It was all concrete finished, but it was crappily done.
There's a lot of gaps. Like, it
Tons
just-
of gaps.
it brought,
What we
like-
did there brought a whole different look to that house
Not appealing
compared to what
to-
was there. Not appealing
from our
at all.
perspective.
I never
Right.
would have left
I
that
won't deny
there.
it looks clean,
Yeah.
it just,
It did. It was a crappy concrete column stamped with a stone looking
It
finish.
stood out in a bad way.
Yeah. So we cleaned all that up and, yeah.
So at least it's clean and cohesive, at least from our point of view.
Yeah, they were not really repairable the way they were. So just getting a nice coat and matching it, and I did it off a period look. That was done kind of more Art Deco themed anyway, based on the house, so.
And wasn't the sidewalk painted too, going up to the house? Wasn't it painted
Gray
gray?
to match, yeah.
Okay, is that part of this as well, or? I don't know about painting the sidewalk, but I just wondering.
I don't think I have any color photos of that.
Okay.
It matches just the light gray or kind of the gray finish to on the deck.
Before it was just all looking bare concrete,
Yeah,
cracks.
we had pressure washed, cleaned everything, and then, yeah, you
Now
can
it
see
looks
it was all
clean.
kind of rough looking, as well as all the concrete step was pretty rough.
So you painted this?
Yeah, just the section leading to the house, yeah, so it all kind of cohesively ties
The
into the
steps.
color. Yep. We fixed the landscape, got rid of all the random beer bottles and pots and the rest of the stuff that was And we don't have any intention of changing anything other than, so the shutters would match to be black, and then the picket fence that we'd like to do, and maybe we can get whatever the official height that we can have there. We were told 3.5, but if, I wasn't sure if it was 4 or not, or what would be best. Yeah, then we'd just like to do a painted picket fence after we put it in, paint that. But we're open for stain color or anything in the back. We just want to kind of keep it neutral.
But not vinyl.
Yeah.
You do
No,
wood?
we have no intention of doing anything. but
Okay,
yeah.
just says
That-
vinyl in there,
shutters are
so
the
just-
only thing that, I just looked, and they do such an amazing job now with casting stuff. My house, I did a lot of like light bezels, and they're amazing. Instead of having them cast in plaster, they're all plastic and injection molded, and they look as good as the real deal, but they don't weigh the kind of weight to be able to put them on the ceiling. And you could put them in any of these high-end houses, old ones, and you'd never know they weren't period. So that's why we were looking at the shutters, and you can get some really good stuff, and it just lasts 30 years and not have to be pulling anything down.
So the materials that you submitted do say vinyl.
I didn't realize I don't think I ever said anything on vinyl. I just was pulling the picket style. The top one, I don't think I realized, yeah, I just was only pulling that for the style. So no, we don't want vinyl, I just want wood. We just like that style look. I was doing it for
With the gaps and stuff.
yeah, the gap, style, size. Pretty much what we've already seen on Rivermont already.
Yeah, that's it, vinyl as well, vinyl picket fence.
So far, the adjustments would be wooden shutters and wooden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can go up to 4 feet, is that what it would be around the perimeter? Okay.
And then specifically, it's like,
Any other
again,
thoughts
I was
about the
saying, we're
paint,
just gonna
black
do
paint?
dog ears like on the back fence, and then just have them spaced. Instead of the other, like, squiggly, how you're gonna do dog.
Emmett?
For the
Can't afford it.
And that's Emmett.
I think it's like, I know the house well and go by it every day, but I think the black paint takes away from the house.
Yeah, the sort of the deco
Yeah,
vocabulary is really, it's more just kind of a plain four-square, plain Victorian, if you will. It's really, I mean, I know the age may be in the deco period, but it's really not a deco house per se.
Sure.
So the,
With everything else that was done, we tried to tie in, obviously it's been vinyl sided, and
yeah,
we
yeah,
just needed a new look.
yeah, I really encourage you to find something
yeah,
besides the
gray
black.
would be better.
Even a darker gray as opposed to the black,
Black.
to play into the other black. It may, could you be okay with the window trim staying black, but the porch
Isn't that black
bases?
black? That's black black.
I would be okay with the window trim being black. I mean, there's other homes in the historic districts
Yeah.
that have black trim, so.
I'm looking
No,
over your
it's
head and
just
seeing
those
that picture,
posts,
that's
they're
why.
just-
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
It does. It's like a glossy black too, so
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah,
aggressive. but-
the window trim seems to be okay black, particularly with the sashes being white to stand out. That's a very typical, that the sashes are white and a color on the trim. That's a very, very typical of the period. But the black on the stone, I'm fine with painting it, that it was scruffy and falling apart.
Well, it matches the roof. The roof was painted black, so it tied into all the same color tones that are already on the house. All we did is just bring it down to the column that was
Yeah.
really in disrepair already. And then all the columns were repainted in nice finished white.
So the columns look great, but the black just jumps out at me.
It's a
And
preference. It's a preferential
I
thing,
I
but not a.
agree.
And
with,
it's more of an interpretation of the guidelines.
Yeah, I mean, the guy,
Can you put the guidelines back up?
well, I mean, American Foursquare, it wants trim and accents, white, off-white, and cream. And the body, yellow, light gray, light blue, light green. It doesn't really speak specifically to the column base. You know, if we take the word trim, if we're looking at American Foursquare, trim and accents, white, off-white, cream, you know, the guidelines want the whole thing to be that. But again, if you could take it into a gray, a light gray, as opposed to just the pure black seems to, like, the porch roof black is fine, the window trim fine, but that column base and the face of the, because typically the area below the porch would have either been a white lattice
It was
or a
all,
red
it was all
brick.
vinyl that
It
was
was a
pretty
vinyl.
beat up, and because of
Yeah.
everything
Yeah,
there,
just
it was
nasty
mold
white
covered.
vinyl that was over
And we
top.
went dark in order to not have, when it rained, all the mulch splatter going
Yeah.
on there.
What's
and
the
all
materi-
white was just nasty.
What's the material down, that face
It's all
down?
vinyl.
It's a
It's
vinyl,
all
like
vinyl.
stripping thing that was there.
Yeah,
What's underneath of it?
all vinyl. That white, everything was vinyl, and then some of the
But
stone.
under the vinyl, what's
The-
on the
It
foundation?
is the same kind of facade stone. It's not stone, concrete.
Yeah, even the color that it is, the old stuff, if you could get back to somewhere that lighter gray would be much more appropriate for, I think, for the house as a whole, in that zone. Tying
If
into
we
the-
just did only the lower stone column pieces in a gray and left everything else, would that be acceptable down the road for us to do that?
Okay.
Obviously, right now, we'd like to invest the money in a few other areas,
Yeah, yeah.
and that be down the road.
And leave
for
the,
us.
leave the below the porch still be black,
Yeah, I don't have the problem with that.
And we just do the
because
stone.
it's mostly covered by plants
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
But, so I think we're just concerned with the stone.
Okay.
floor.
So, Ian, can we go to the list again?
For clarity, when you say down the road, you might have overheard someone earlier ask about the timeline. You have a year to start the work and then a year to finish it. So,
Next year,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
right.
We'd rather invest in getting
No, I get
the
it.
picket fence around there, money-wise.
Yeah.
Because it's still money and time. We'd like to do that for the renters as well as just the corner lot. We have a lot of people walking through.
Yeah.
And so they don't like the safety issue of people just migrating through the property.
I
We'd like to
100%
do
agree
that.
with you. May I offer a motion?
Yes, you may.
Okay, slow and steady, Eve. For item number 1, black shutters, but wood in lieu of vinyl. Item number 2, the window trim is okay, and the porch foundation are both okay black, but the stone column bases go to a lighter gray there. The gravel driveway being paved with concrete or exposed aggregate or stamped concrete is fine.
So we'd be okay with like a stone, even if we decided we didn't pave it, we could do a
You could-
stone,
River rock.
river rock, anything that way.
Not great, not just
Yeah,
gravel,
something nice.
gravel,
Yeah.
just out of the gravel. Gosh, we didn't even touch on this.
Cement pad.
We didn't touch, let me skip number 4. A picket fence, wood, painted, can be as much as 4 foot tall.
Okay,
And then the 6th one, yes, the 4-foot wooden fence
yep. and we'll be
in the
cutting that
rear, stained or painted, whichever you
I
prefer.
was just normal dog eared.
For the,
Yeah,
for
not
the front.
the
Make it
stockade kind of stuff, just, yeah, a dog ear
Simple.
is appropriate,
Yeah, just
yep,
okay.
yep.
Okay.
And can we go back to number 4, because I think we skipped completely
We
that
did.
one. What is that one?
That's so far down on our list. There's an old pad that must have been a shed, or maybe it was a drive garage. I don't really know what
Yeah,
was
you
there.
can see it right there, the small little.
Where the shed is
Shed
currently,
structure.
the renters purchased that from us and will take it in 2 years off the premises. And at that point in time, we probably will have to come back, but it's an old pad that we'll probably
Yeah, tons
re-pour
of
and then put a
cracks
shed
and-
back on
yeah,
it.
full-
Can you just strike that item off? If you're not going to do anything
That's fine, you
now-
can take it off, it's down the road, I just
Yeah,
thought I'd ask
yeah,
if there was.
Let's just strike that one and not do it. So that's my motion, striking number 4, yada, yada, on 1 through 6.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there further discussion? Julie, you look
Yeah,
like you-
sorry.
That's
Did I have that
okay.
look on my face?
Yeah.
Can we just bring the list up real quick one more time? I just wanted to make note of a couple of things just to clarify, make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the driveway, you don't pave river rock or pea gravel. And it says in the guidelines what you can use. Just wanted to clarify that, and then
River rock or pea
pea
gravel.
gravel.
Or
Just-
or we do
just
a
like-
cement.
Number
Or
50,
cement,
the
yes.
gray number 57 stuff that you see so frequently, no.
Yeah, that's all that's been down there
And
to
then
begin with.
for the,
That's been
for
there
the
a long time.
fences, if you do paint the fences, I just want to clarify color, because obviously color's been an issue for this
Yeah.
COA.
White.
So white, so if you want to paint, you can do white.
Or
like a
stain.
Or stain, yeah. But just,
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to make sure we're not
Do
painting
you
a
guys
fence
have
black.
issues with any, like, specific stain color if we went that? Because there's stain and then there's like semi-solid.
Semi-transparent,
Yeah, and those, by the time you put a two coat on it, it's solid.
yeah. I think you want to stay towards the natural
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, and then we most likely want to just stay white anyway.
Yeah.
I think it'll look best.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the only points I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I'll accept her clarification.
All right. We're easy. All right. Then all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything. Thanks so much.
Do you have any questions?
Call Eve.
Eve is the one to go to.
Will you end up emailing just to finalize
Yeah, I'll
things?
send you
Okay.
an approval in your email tomorrow.
All right.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate your
Thanks so
time.
much.
Bye.
Have a nice night.
All right, our last item.
Oh, it's my turn.
It's-
You go sit over there.
Yes, please. We'll be official.
Okay. All right, my name is Julie Arrington. I live at 838 Rivermont. And we're proposing a couple of things for a backyard renovation that we want to do. There's currently a privacy fence all the way around the backyard. We want to just redo it because it's really messed up. It's stockade. There's been places that have been repaired, patched with all different types of materials. It's been overgrown with ivy and whatnot. So we're just going to replace essentially in-kind dog-eared, and we'll stain it just like a natural finish. Could you pull up just the overhead? Yeah, so the two sides that are with our neighbor, so the yellow side on either side of the property, we're gonna, those fences are technically on, one side is on the property line, the other side is on the neighbor's property. So we're just gonna build another fence right along it. We're not gonna remove the sides. We're just gonna build privacy fence right along it so that it's on our property, but it'll match everything. In the back, we wanted to put in a parking spot, so that would require a little bit of grading. So the back of our house meets up with Victoria Ave. So we were wanting to kind of grade that so that we could do pea gravel in all that area that's tan. And the pea gravel would meet up with Victoria. We have had a couple of people suggest, because of the grade, to do concrete just at the part that's sloped. So we're gonna ask for approval for that. Whether or not it's necessary in the end, if we do that, I'm not sure. But if we don't do the concrete, we'll just do pea gravel. And then the privacy fence along the back that is Victoria Ave will have a gate so that we can enclose the parking area. So that'll just be like a double gate. It'll be 10 feet in length, but 5 feet on each side to swing out. Trying to think what else was on there. So we also want to do, extend the pea gravel from the parking area and do a walkway, create a walkway to the house with the circular part in the center of the yard that we're just going to put up like a seating area. Have pea gravel along the back side of the house to keep the weeds and the overgrowth off the house. And then continue the pea gravel along the side of the house as well. Just that one side of the house. There is a retaining wall that we share with our neighbor. So we're just going to do from the retaining wall to the side of our house, which is about 8 feet wide or so, just do pea gravel all the way, that whole width to the front corner of the house. And You do have to request an after the fact for a 4-foot tall picket fence that we have in the back of the house. And that just separates the driveway area from the rest of the yard, because we have like a garden back there. But it does need to be repaired, and we wanted to paint it white, but it's just the French Gothic style pickets. And I think that was it. Yeah, I think that was it.
So am I understanding right with number one, there's already on both sides, there's an existing fence, and you want to construct a second fence?
Yeah,
parallel
so.
to it, and then
yep.
there'll be like a foot or something in between the two?
Yeah, probably about 2 feet in between. So on one side, so our backyard is totally enclosed with a privacy fence. On one side, we share it with a gentleman who has chickens, and there's a chicken coop that's been installed on the fence. And there's a lot going on in his backyard, and we just don't want to disrupt that fence. It is technically on the property line, but we just kind of don't want to deal with having to take that down. So we're just going to build a second fence right along that, but about a foot or 2 feet in, as much room as they need to do the work. On the other side, we had our property surveyed, and it is technically on our neighbor's property by about 1.5 feet. So we're just, again, going to bring a new fence in right along that same side, but just about like 1.5 feet in. So the new fence will be totally on our property.
So I'm just trying to understand this. So can you walk between the two? Can you cut the grass?
It won't be
or is
enough.
the forest going to grow
It won't
out?
be enough room to walk. I don't know that anything will grow in between. Our next door neighbor did say that they are going to take that part down in the future to redo their fence as well. So they'll probably just end up using ours to build off of when they redo their backyard fence.
Get yours as close to your property line.
Yeah, right. So we are going to put it on that property line on that side. And then on the chicken side, it's just going to be slightly in. But like you said, as close as possible. The
Yeah,
one,
what grows in there could be interesting over time for you.
yeah.
Right.
We
We'll try to
certainly-
manage
There's
it.
certainly that one group of apartments on Rivermont that they put up a wooden fence and you can't even see it anymore. It's covered by vines coming from the other side of it. Just completely overgrown.
Yeah, we'll do our best to stay on top of that.
A little
but,
Roundup helps.
Other adjustment that we were gonna make to the existing footprint is the gate on the side of the house, on the left side. Currently, it's right at the back corner of the house. We just wanted to move that up about 10 feet because there's an egress window there that we wanted to enclose in the gate. So it's just gonna be moved up slightly, but
Not an issue.
yeah, not far at all.
Questions? Comments?
Come on, guys.
I was just reading it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, and in number 3, that you're saying you'd like the option to do concrete instead of pea gravel, if you decide because of the slope it's better.
Right. If it becomes necessary to do that, because we don't want the gravel to just be spilling out into the street. So if it's enough of a slope where we need to do it, we just wanted to go ahead and put that before the commission. And there's about 5 feet between the back of our, like where the privacy fence is now, the back of our lot, to Victoria. So it's kind of, it's not grass, it's kind of just overgrown, like, mess, weeds back there. But there is enough space, I just wanted to clarify, there is enough space between the back of our house and Victoria Ave for the gates to flow without obstructing the road at all, so.
Yeah, I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you.
You're good to go, Julie. What kind of dog did you have? That was my
We've got
question.
2 dogs. One's an Australian Shepherd mix, and the other one is a Lab mix.
Okay, that was the shepherd.
You can see
mix.
that was a strange.
Is that like is that a straight photo or?
Oh,
is it
that's
like
just a mock-up that I
SketchUp?
did. Yeah, just like a Photoshop mock-up of what
Okay.
we want the backyard to look like.
Okay,
The dog made it in.
it's so cool. Yeah, I thought it had been.
Well, I was joking with Eve because my husband submitted the application. He included photos that like were not meant to be in the application. So I said, can you include these so they're a little bit clearer on what we want to do? But anyways.
Okay, is there any other business before this commission?
I guess just, I can get a little quick topic. The year to start and year to finish, that's
Yeah.
in the guidelines that were approved by council.
I think it's in code.
I'm sorry?
I think it's in the city code.
It seems an inordinate amount of time, because basically, one can ignore it for 2 years, and you're gone, your replacement's gone, who remembers?
Well, they're supposed to start the work within the year and then continue to do the work. It's not, you can start it, leave it, and then pick it back up at the end of the 2
I'm gonna
years.
say, to give them 12 months to start seems to be excessively lenient. You would think that it does, okay, you've got to change the color. You've got to go to the paint store and get a different can.
Yeah.
Even in today's world of delays on shipping, 12 months to even begin to start just seems to be crazy.
I think the assumption is that if they're applying for it, they're, ready to do it, intending to do it. It doesn't necessarily help when these, after the facts or that need modifications come up. Yeah, so I mean, it's not one size fits all, but
I'm just saying, a couple of months would seem to be ample to start. And then to finish, again, that it would take 12 months to do the work from start to finish. I mean, you could tear the house down and rebuild it.
if you're motivated.
Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint. So my question is, what would be the process to change those 2 amounts of time?
I believe we would need to take it back to council, and council would need to.
So we would need to make a motion and approve it as an HPC and send it to council for their consideration.
I mean, I think there's a little bit more to the process than that. For example, we would probably need to look into why it was established as that time range, when it was established that way, if it was ever, anything else. And I can look into that for the next meeting.
Yeah, if you would, just from the standpoint of what would be the hoops that we would need to jump through and the process that we would need to go through. And like you say, the backstory of it. I'm just thinking ones that we've had in recent times that somebody literally didn't do anything. The
We had on
the
Rivermont Avenue.
The parking lot on Rivermont, the only reason that got done was the sale of the house.
Right.
And it just, to say, okay, you're in violation, and okay, well, I'll just ignore it for 12 months,
Yeah.
seems to be an excessive,
Yeah, I agree.
there's no teeth there.
Right.
Or on the flip side, it seems like there's a lot of time for memories to be confused about what was approved, and then something is interpreted a different way, 12 months down the line, and then we're back at an after the fact
Well, it's like
thing.
the color of
so-
her roof.
Right.
It's like, I don't remember why we said what we said or did what we did.
Yeah.
That's why I try to make the COA approvals very specific. Sometimes people choose to ignore that.
Right.
Or choose to forget.
So
Yeah, so.
So I would like sometime when we have a lighter agenda to meet informally, about after the fact, when people have been here, and that bothers me more than somebody inheriting
Right.
an after the fact. But I'd just like us to talk about that and see if we could come up with some uniform way of dealing with them. It's almost like a thumb in your nose to me, and
Well, the bottom line is, there's no person on city staff that patrols, if
Yeah.
you will, the neighborhood to find that. I mean, running up Rivermont right now, there's a house that has 90% of the windows are gone.
But I'm
I mean,
just-
what the heck is going on there? But
I'm not concerned with our finding, after the fact. It just, can we come up with a way to
Of
deal
how to
with them
respond.
fairly, depending on what's happened. They're not all the same, but I think sometimes we're all over the board. So, does anybody else feel that way, that we?
Well, I agree we're all over the board, but the findings are kind of all over the board too,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
Like, and even the cost to remedy a roof versus painting column stacks, or, you know what I mean?
But do we take that into consideration? Some of the things going on Rivermont Avenue, to me, are really making the avenue look worse, and that's just me. But I would like to just hear what other people think when we have a short agenda.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
And then another thing I wonder is, do we have a way to get to realtors who are selling property to these guys, for instance, and why they didn't know it was a historic
Shame on
district?
him, he
'Cause
lives
it's
on
got
a corner that's got a
it's got
brown
a
sign that says
yeah.
historic on it.
Yeah.
Like I said, some people choose to ignore
Yeah.
what's in front of them. But I am working with the Historical Foundation, Catherine Mosley Brown. We're working on doing a small class for realtors about buying and selling in the historic district. It did get delayed because they want to make it like an official class that they can get credits for, which requires a syllabus, and so that should be coming up probably in the next year or so. But yeah, we understand that they're not exactly communicating that the way they should be. And I'm going to be looking into a couple other ways that we might be able to reach out to them, kind of remind them, hey, there are historic districts, they have rules. But yeah, that's in the works.
Good.
So.
And I think when you purchase, at least I can speak from experience, when we bought our house, we got a letter in the mail saying like, this is a historic district, FYI, like you need to follow guidelines. And I don't, maybe the first time you move in is great to get that, but of course, not everybody follows through with their mail. So maybe there's some sort of, if the budget would allow, reoccurring letter that's going out saying just a reminder,
Yeah, we do still send that. The problem with those is that the delay in time between the property transferring and people moving in, it's probably a month to 2 months before they're getting the letter. So, people, if they're really motivated, could be doing work in that time. And not everybody reads the letters they get,
it should
so.
almost be a part of the closing packet.
Well, doesn't it come up? I've had two in historic districts, and I thought it came up both times. That,
I don't know how you could buy it and not know. Maybe
I don't know
somebody
that I
can just
signed
slap a
something, but I
thing on
thought
the
it
window of the
was
door.
part of disclosure.
Yeah, I think it is part of disclosure, but it just seems like it's being
Yeah, I'm not sure
overlooked.
how that process.
I think people choose to. I don't know. I mean, yeah. Unless you're new to town and don't know, even then, if I'm spending that kind of money, I'm gonna do some due diligence. I can't speak, not everybody, obviously, but I don't know.
Has city council reviewed
They
any
have not.
commissioner applications?
I'm really hoping at the next meeting, which is the 27th, I really hope they're gonna be taking a look at those.
Okay.
Great.
And I have another name that I'll email you of someone that's interested, but it would be like a non-professional.
Yep.
Good.
Sounds good.
Okay, anything else? Then we are adjourned. Thank